Hello and welcome to another Bodgit and Leggit video. Now we're finally underneath this W115-8 Mercedes, and what I have done since the last video is, because now I've gone up the lift, I've redone all the brackets for the exhaust, so I've put them going up rather than sticking down. It just makes it that little bit higher, and you know, if anything gets underneath, you can save a cat or dog's life. So always important to do that. What we're going to do in this video is there's a lot of stuff you can look at. We've got a lot of rust we will be sorting out in further videos. We've got floor damage in here. I don't know what the customer wants me to do yet. Does he want to see if we can get repair panels? Does he want me to recreate this properly or just put a flat plate? I'm leaving that up to the customer. I don't know yet, but I will be filming that once we've done it. Right, as you can see from the previous day, we have over an inch of fillers in certain areas. The hole just keeps getting bigger and bigger. It's all fillers all the way along there. You can see how thick the fillers was here. All the wing is fillers. It's all completely gone. And I can't just stop at one point. I have to keep going. It's an absolute mess just on this corner here. And all this sills, all fillers, all that's fillers. You can see it's all cracked there, all fillers. Right, as I always say, it's never the hole you can see, it's what you can't see is the problem. And yeah, look at that. Hello and welcome to another Bodgit and Leggit video. Right, the customer has told me what he wanted me to do. If you remember, I did the gearbox oil and the rear diff oil, and I quickly showed you the bit of rust on it, and the customer said, look, just basically patch it up just to make it a lot better, structurally sound. He's not worried about all the angles in the floor and stuff like that. Just basically plate it up. The hole wasn't too bad, but look, once you start stripping, someone has just filled all this. This is all fillers, over an inch of fillers here, just massive of fillers everywhere. You can see just how bad the hole is now. Fillers is getting thinner down there, but it's still quite thick. All here it's thick, and I haven't even finished taking all the stuff off the wing yet, and it's quite bad. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to keep stripping it all back and just seeing what we're left with and what I have to build back. But it's looking like a lot. Under here as well, not just at the base, but actually in the wheel well, this is all gone as well. Right, you can see what we are getting at now. Look, just really bad. I've managed to find a place where we've got good metal from here now. This is kind of good metal, and then it starts getting really bad from here on in then, but at least we can go from here out and then from here that way. But we're not going to worry about any of this now, because this is turned into a lot bigger job. So we're just going to concentrate on this. So I'm just going to clean up all this, and I'm going to make a new sill. A full sill that comes all the way down here with the return lip that's there. Weld that in. Then we'll make the bottom piece for the wing as a separate part, and then we'll make this floor section here as another separate part, but trying to weld this back in structural, because this is the jacking point. So I'm going to have to put some ties in here to make that a lot stronger, because at the minute that's just hanging there. It's not going to do any good whatsoever. So it's just a case of doing a lot of cleanup now, getting my metal, cutting it, shaping it, and welding. Right, I'm just going to show you how to make a sill. Now what I really need is what's called a pipe anvil. I need to make one, but I haven't made one yet. So I've got some cold roll steel, a sheet of 1mm steel, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to weld it up to here. I'm going to do the sill in 2 stages just because it's just easier. From here to there is good, and from there to there is bad. But what I'm going to do, I'm going to weld this sill in first. Then once I do the back, I'm going to join it up to here, so then there'll be a complete new sill on it. I just do it in two sections because it's just easier to work with, and it just kind of makes more sense. Now, this is the cold roll steel, absolutely just flat steel, nothing special. You can see a really nice curve I've got on that already. It's not, it still needs to be a lot tighter than that, but it's getting there. And all I've done is just 2 gas bottles, 2 different sizes, and I've just put the sheet on top. Like that, and I've just pushed it around in my hands. That's all I've done to make that shape, and it's a really nice shape. It's just not tight enough. I need to get a smaller tube again and then just make it at the right shape. Takes a bit of time, but no special tools, no nothing. Yes, there is tools out there to make your life easier, but I'm just showing you can do these things with what you've got lying around. Right, I was using this sill as a reference to what the shape should be, and look at the shape that I've kind of got out of this now. So the original shape I was doing with the gas bottles was no good, because this sill has been completely manufactured. In other words, the shape of it with the fillets. So what I actually did was I kind of started again and put the metal back to more or less flat, and I was using the lift, the 4-post lift. So I was putting it under here, and it was allowing me to bend it into any kind of shape I wanted. Now I know everyone's not going to have a 4-post lift. It's not about what I'm using, it's about what you can use. So I went around the other side and I found the proper shape of it. It's a really weird shape because it's a completely different shape here, then it cuts in underneath and it comes flat. But not only that, look at the return lip. We have a return lip here, then it gets huge, then it goes, and it goes thinner and thinner and thinner and thinner and thinner and thinner, and basically fades off to nothing. And then it lines up with the floor. So I've made some executive decisions. I'll show you on the other side. I'm not going to put these on, and the reason is because people are putting jacks on this and it's just doing too much damage. You put the jack under the chassis rail a bit here, you're never going to do any damage. So we're taking these off and we're not putting them on there because someone's going to see them and it's just causing issues. That's what's caused all this issue originally, by people putting jacks up there. I know it's the factory jack, but this is stronger. So what I did then, off a little piece of the scrap off the edge, and I molded this to the sill on the far side. And now I've got my shape, which I have put into my piece of metal by doing this. Now, I have also been doing the angle of the return lip here. So you can see, look, it goes big and it fades off to essentially nothing. And then it just lines up with that. So we can finesse this and make that go, you know, to nothing a lot slower once I get the panel on. I'm going to make this into either 3 sections or 2 sections. I haven't decided that yet, but that's not a big deal. You can see I still haven't cut that off, but when I line this up to here now, and if it wasn't for that lump of fillers there, look, that is practically on it perfect. And this is where I've taken this off completely. Lucky enough, all the metal in behind this is good. It's just the outer skin that's bad. Our sill's going to come up to here, and I'll make the wing separately, and I'll make this section separately as well. And like I said, you can just jack off the main chassis rail here, because these jack points, it's all rusted because of these jack points. People lifting up and cracking them, and just, you know, there's no need. There's loads of places you can jack up. You can jack up from the main subframe here. You know, there's loads. You don't need to go onto the weak point here. So we're just going to take them out. Yes, it's not factory. Yes, some people might not like it, but you know, if you want, do it on your car. It's up to you. You can do it on your car. You know, I can put them all back in, but you know, custom and that, and there's just really no need unless you want it to look completely factory. So a bit more fettling with this, but essentially that curve there we got just by putting under there. So let me just clean up this a little bit more. I'm going to cut out this, and then I'm going to weld it and flush it all, and we're going to be good. Then make the wing come down and make the rest of the panel. Right, as you can see, it's going to look a lot worse, so it gets a lot better. I've protected all the inside with some wax oil. Lucky enough, all the inside is actually good. All the rust was on the outside. So we've got our new sill made, which is here. So I've got to clean this off, get that on. Once I've welded that on, I'm going to show you how I'm going to do that, but then I'm going to make up the wing section and the actual inner arch section. And then there's another little section for the floor I need to make up. And then essentially it's done, and then just paint it. But I had to keep going, I had no choice with the hole that was in the rust and the way they've made the wing and the sill all one, whoever did it. Anyway, I'll get into it. I'm just cleaning up ready for tomorrow to get this welded on. And yeah, sucking diesel. Right, I've more or less got this done. You can see we've got a nice shape there now. It needs a little bit of work still. I've got my return lip done, and the way I mark that I'll show you in a second. Now I did do a few little cuts because I've got no shrinker stretcher here, and I just wanted to do this easy, because if you don't cut it, what will happen is you'll straighten out the curve. So all I did is I got some vice grips, I made my mark, and I slowly, like I showed you in the other video I did with the BMW wing, slowly went around and bent that till I got my nice return lip, which matches up with here really nice. Now I didn't have this completely fell off. It was all fillers and it completely fell off. So I put the sill on like this, roughly. Well, I marked it, I didn't do it roughly. As you can see now, look, we've got a really nice edge going there now. Lines up with that perfectly. I marked it here, and then I marked it under here. And I got my line, drew my line. You can see with Tipex there, drew my line. And then just put a 10mm line next to it, bend that over for my return lip. Well, it's actually 15mm. And that's how I did it, really straightforward. But now what I've got to do is I've got to make this, because this lip has to be welded onto this lip, and of course this lip is completely missing. So I'm just going to mock this up, get this up here, like that, wherever it needs to be, which is there. See? And now what I need to do is I need to make up the second piece that goes inside here. But look at that, we've got a lovely line coming all the way down into there. So it's nice. Right, because the car is completely rusted away at this return lip part, it's very difficult to get a judge of where I need to go on the car. So all I'm going to do to make my life easier is I'm going to turn this upside down like that, and I'm going to trace the shape around there. I'm going to make my bottom plates the same shape as this with the return lip. Then I can actually mount it to here, then I can actually cut this to the car, if that makes sense, because then I'll know I'll get the plate perfectly to this, and then it's just a case of mounting this to the car. It makes sense, it's easier, why not do it? Right, okay, so I cut this line here. This is my fold line here. That will then line up with there. I can spot weld that and sort this out to that. Not yet, but that's what I will do. And then we can weld this to the car once I get this shape right. I'll do this on the car, get this shape nice, and then there you go, it's done. Right, I've made my little fillet. I can weld it to here. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to finish this. So I'm going to weld it inside here rather than spot welding it. And that will allow me then to finish this edge, get this edge nice, weld up these little lines in them here, and that's going to be essentially the sill and the panel repair for this. So then all I've got to do, which I'm not going to film because I'll do other videos because I just don't have the time to film this properly. I'd like to go through more steps, but I just give you kind of ideas of how to do it. Still got to make the wing, still got to make the rest of this, but yeah, that's going to be my little fillet plate for the sill. Right, we are really close. Like I said, I've still got a little bit of fettling to do on this. This still needs to be bent out slightly, but I can do that when it's on the car. This is way too big, so this needs to be trimmed down, but again, I can do that once it's on the car. We have our piece welded on, nice. So we have it resting on here. We've still got to make the wing part up, so we've still got issues here. But what I've done is I've cut out most of the sill now, and I've just left a little bit there because I've got to weld this on top of this and cut it and line them both up perfectly. Then we can actually start welding this bad boy in properly. So let me get all that set up and I'll show you what I mean. Right, you can see I'm getting there. I've kind of got the shape so it starts thick there and it's going off to a fine point here. I'm running out of time to actually do this job, so I'm running out of time to film it. So what I'm going to do is the same as what I did on the BMW wing when I made the bottom half of the BMW wing. I'm just going to cut these welds about, say, 2 or 3 inches at a time. Once I cut the weld, this will then push into this existing metal here. Then I'll weld it up fully so it's nice and flat, and then grind it all down. So I'll show you that once it's done. Go and look at the BMW video to see how I've done that, and then once I get time properly to actually do a video on something like this properly where I can show a lot more, I will. It's just very, very time consuming. And also here you can see the shape I've got the metal. I didn't make this shape before, but I got this part welded on. Then you can actually shape the metal into this groove once you've actually welded one part of it. So that's what I did. It just makes life easy. You can see how much of the wing now is actually missing as well. Right, it just gets better and better, doesn't it? I've now run out of welding gas. So I'm not going to be able to do any more with this, and I'm not going to be able to get it until next week now. It's going to be a nightmare. So I'm going to have to end the video, but I will do another video on repairing of the wing. But at least now you can, you know, from watching this video and watching the BMW video, you'll know how I'm going to weld this in, and you'll get the idea. But very simple tools, use what you've got around you, and it's amazing what things you can make. You know, fair enough, this wasn't the hardest one to do, but there's still some good shapes in there. You know, there was still, you know, to get the wheel arch line and everything going all nice, you know, it still takes a bit. Very, very simple tools, very easy. It just takes time. Right, so this is all the bits that came off. All the rusty. Don't know what happened here, seriously, look at that. Gets better. Chunks and chunks of fillers. Over 1 inch thick in places, 2 inches thick in some other places. Just yeah, I mean, yeah. On a really hot day on a Mercedes W115, we have air conditioning, but look at that, we can twist the window with this knob here directly, more or less directly at us, and we get lovely cold air. Even though we got the window open, this is actually directing air into us. Sorted!